Hi, everyone. I am so excited that you are joining me in the kitchen. Um, this is going to be kind of fun today. I am not a professional cook. I'm actually far from it, way far from it. But I am going to show you how to make some healthier, not necessarily healthy, so don't come after me. They're not healthy, they're healthier. Reese's peanut butter cups, or I shouldn't use the brand name, chocolate peanut butter cups. It's something that my dad really enjoys as a treat every once in a while. For example, it was his birthday this month, so we're going out tonight to celebrate his birthday because my younger brother is in town, and also his birthday was in April. So I wanted to create a healthier little treat that we could maybe fudge a little candle into and light it so that we can wish them both a happy birthday. My dad, as everyone who's been tuning in for a couple years now to the Heart of Innovation, our radio show, or even other videos on our YouTube channel, I've talked about my dad and his heart disease getting diagnosed at age 78. He's now 82. And we have improved so many aspects of his diet and his exercise and all that jazz. But one of the things he absolutely loved was sweets after dinner. And so that was a big struggle for us to try and figure out what we could do to satisfy his sweet tooth. And one of the ways in which we discovered we could do that was to create healthier Reese's peanut butter cups and do it in a way that also packs a little bit of an antioxidant punch. And we do that by actually, whoops, I'm going to start dropping things right now. This is actually the Kim Can't Cook episode. So I either drop something, spill something, leave tags on when I'm throwing it in the grill. And yeah, that's me. This is the real way the average person cooks. So I'm going to try and hold this up here. This is our raw cacao. It's organic cacao powder. It is a superfood. It has one of the highest concentrations of minerals and magnesium of any food, literally, on the planet. And it's an alternative to conventional high processed Dutch cocoa. So, this is really a great option to use to create the chocolate side of the chocolate peanut butter cups. So we're going to use that. We're going to mix that with organic virgin coconut oil, if you can see that. Organic virgin coconut oil. You don't have to use this brand. I just try and find the purest as possible and a brand that I can trust. And I like ones that are certified organic, and that I can find the same one year round. But you can use any one of them. Coconut oil, there are big debates online. Is it healthy? Is it not? Any oil that you use in moderation, that you don't use in moderation, probably a better way to put that, not really necessarily good. So everything must be used in moderation. The only one we do suggest, typically through the Global PAD Association is early harvest, cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, and making sure that that's the freshest you can. But that's not going to do what we need it to do. If these Reese's peanut butter cups, we need them to be able to harden, and the extra virgin, the virgin coconut oil organic is one that's going to help the chocolate when we make it solidify when we put it in the freezer. The whole key is these peanut butter cups, chocolate peanut butter cups. The way that we actually mold them together is we put them in the freezer. So that's the coconut oil. The coconut oil also goes in the peanut butter to make the peanut butter solidify when we put it in the freezer. Okay, we also put in a little bit of cayenne pepper to add a kick, add a little extra flavor. That's to make up for the lessened amount of sugar that we use. The sugar that we use for it to sweeten it is organic brown coconut sugar. I like this one just because total sugars is 4 grams. I know that I had put in the preview of this particular episode that I also have used natural coconut nectar, but it does have a little bit more of a higher, it says low glycemic, but 14 grams of sugar, I don't know. It is natural though. So sometimes natural sugars can be just better. But this coconut, organic brown coconut sugar is unrefined and low glycemic. So it is a good option. We just don't use a lot of the sugar. That's why I end up using the cayenne pepper. I also use a little bit of Celtic salt. I know that we, especially with high blood pressure, you don't want to use a lot of salt, but we use just a little bit of the Celtic salt just to add a little bit of extra flavor to it. Um, I don't know what it does. It just adds a little yumminess, to that. Okay. I think that we are ready. I think I've gone through all of the ingredients. You got the peanut butter, we got the cacao. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera down so you can actually see doing the on the stove here. Okay. As I said, I am not a professional chef, so you are not going to see me measure anything. But I do have a little ice cream scooper that I'm using for the coconut oil because it's easier for me to end up getting out. And I know I should be using a spoon, but yeah, we're not perfect here in this kitchen. So you're not going to see me do anything I'm supposed to be doing. And if I don't be careful, I'm going to knock my pan right off the stove and be wearing that in just a few moments. Our friend Douglas, who is always um, in our videos. Oh, and by the way, it's really good if you get a little extra coconut oil on your hands. It's really good. Just rub it on in there. Really good for your skin. Okay. But anyway, so Douglas always makes fun of me, told me I actually should be wearing an apron today. And maybe I need to get one of our aprons with our friend Patty, PAD, because we focus on peripheral artery disease with the Global PAD Association, those blocked arteries and mainly the legs. It's a disease more prevalent and more deadly than most cancers combined. So our association focuses on helping people with that particular disease. But we have Patty, PADDY, who is our little mascot. And Patty has an apron that is on our shop or in our shop at peripheral-artery-disease.shop. And I probably should have gotten one of those before doing this. So as you can see, the coconut oil is starting to melt. I have it on low heat because I have a tendency to burn things. I even burn artichokes. So that takes skill to do that. My skill. No one else's skill, my skill. And so I keep things on low heat, and you really don't want that burn flavor in your chocolate peanut butter cups. So we're going to start with that. We're going to melt the coconut oil. And as the coconut oil is melting, I'm going to start spooning in some raw cacao. As I said, I do not measure a thing. So please do not ask me for measurements. I go by just my feeling. And sometimes I might even pour, which the spoon I have here is really small. And the reason I have this size spoon, it's just a half a teaspoon, is because I make up little oatmeal packets for my dad that is a combination of steel cut oats and whole oats. And I do a quarter cup of those just mixed together, along with a half teaspoon of raw cacao, a half teaspoon of ground chia seeds, a half teaspoon of flax seeds, half teaspoon of hemp seeds, and a half teaspoon of cinnamon. And I make little baggies up for my dad so that he can just stick it in some hot water, add a little bit of cashew milk and all of his berries for his breakfasts and heat that up in the morning, or put it in the fridge overnight to make overnight oats and have it ready for him so he doesn't even have to cook in the morning. But that's why I have this little half teaspoon in here. Or else I probably, for this recipe, should have used something bigger, because you're going to see me actually start pouring in a second, because this little teaspoon is just not working for me. And my hand is getting completely covered in chocolate. So let me mix some of this in here so we could start getting that lovely chocolatey color going on. Yes, it's starting to look really, really good. And you have to, as I said, kind of go by feel. So here we go. We're pouring. I know I crack myself up. I'm so sorry if you can't really follow this or if you're more of a perfectionist and exacting with your cooking. My mom always would tell me, and she transitioned a couple of years ago, but she always would get really mad at me because I would make a recipe and she'd really enjoy it, and then I couldn't make it the same ever again. So it would always turn out different. Not that she didn't like it, but she would always say, well, this is good, but I also like the other one. When can we have the other that you made last week? And I would say, actually, I don't remember how to do that. So um, I don't remember exactly how much. So I can never make anything taste exactly the same. But it never necessarily tastes bad. It doesn't always look perfect because I'm not the best at plating, but it tastes good at the very least. I don't know how many of us, I wish I was some sort of trained Instagram influencer chef type that does everything absolutely perfect. They have the perfect camera angles, they have the perfect measurements for everything. But yeah, no, not me. I even on the Food Network, you see them, they have um, all of the little measuring cups with with their ingredients. Yeah, no, not me. Um, not at all. Okay, you can see this is getting a little bit thicker. And yes, to our friend Douglas, who I know is also watching, yes, I have residual cacao sitting on the stove because I did end up when I poured, it did get there, which was not good. Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit of extra flavor to it. So this is the cayenne pepper, as I said. So we're going to put a little cayenne pepper in here. And if you see too much going in, oh my goodness, yell, yell, yell. But I think that that's a good amount of cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is also a healthy little additional um, ingredient and flavor bomb. And then just a tiny bit of Celtic salt. I like the Celtic salt because um, it has a little crunch to it. So you'll really get a little flavor pop in there. And it is one of the healthier salts that is available, and it's packed with minerals. And in fact, my dad with heart disease was told that he needed his sodium was low. And so they didn't want him actually packing, with table salt because that's not as healthy. So they told him to get his dietitian told him to get a little bit of Celtic salt, and if I don't add it to his meal that day, he's just to take a pinch and he's to put it in some water and consume it. So it is considered a healthier alternative. You don't have to add salt. You can also add some of your other flavors. I've even seen some people blend up dates in order and put it in here and have little chunks of dates to add a little extra sweetness naturally in there. Okay. So that I think is all stirred. It's ready to go. And let me taste it. Yep, I forgot something. I forgot the sugar. Of course I did. So no wonder it was a little bland. Has a kick to it though. Definitely has a kick to it. Wow, does it have a kick to it? But cayenne pepper did a really good job. The other thing you can do to add flavor if you don't like that extra kick in it, and it also adds a little bit of healthy flair, is cinnamon. So get some ground cinnamon. Ground cinnamon is also a really good idea to add a little extra to flavor to it. I'm going to taste it though first and see. Oh, much better. Much, much better. Okay. This is good. This is really good. I'd add a little. Oh, I like the little salt kick. I'll add some cinnamon to it because I like cinnamon. Okay. And it's healthy. There were studies that were actually done that said that Ceylon cinnamon in particular is really good at lowering your A1C, which is interesting. We have to read those studies and then talk to your doctor about that to see if it's something that might be right for you. But we have a doctor, a vascular surgeon in Charlotte, North Carolina, Dr. James Antizana, that prescribes the Ceylon cinnamon for his diabetic patients and works with them on exactly how much they should be taking. With that, you have to do a very specific 2 weeks on or 3 weeks on and 2 weeks off, so it doesn't build up in your liver, I hear. But that's why you have to actually talk to your doctor about it. Okay. Mm. Mm. So good, so good, so good. Okay. So what I did was I just got some of these cups just to make them real for you. Make them more like, the peanut butter cups. But the reality is that this is more of the size that I use. And I even have a smaller version, which I was looking everywhere for this morning and I couldn't find them. Should have prepared. But I even have the smaller ones that you can do. But this is more the size that I think is better. And it just becomes not just a nice little treat that you can get. And you can get that at any store. I actually picked this one up, the dollar store. So it's not really that expensive. And if you do need one and you can't afford one, just message me through padhelp.org and I'll go ahead and get you one if you need it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place this into the cups. And I am going to, let me see. I'm going to move this over, move the peanut butter over. I'm going to move that here. I'm going to put this so you can see. Actually, we'll do this. That's safer. Okay, because the burner's on. So let's see. So I'm going to take, usually, oh my God, am I measuring? I have a tablespoon here. So I am going to put a tablespoon of chocolate, bottom of that, each one. And mine are not heaping because, again, I know Douglas is watching and he's waiting for me to spill it everywhere. So I'm not actually, filling them all the way to the top. I'll probably put a little extra in afterwards. I'm trying to be as neat and as graceful as possible. And then putting it in each one, just letting it settle in. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit more in each because I don't think that there's enough. Normally I put in a heaping spoonful in each one. Okay. I love the fact that I actually am measuring. I didn't think I ever measured anything, but I do. Okay. Now I'm going to fill up some of the smaller ones. Put this let me just go ahead and get this started in the freezer. So I'm going to put it in the freezer. And I think you can see me putting it in over here. Got to put it in the freezer. Make sure that it is going in flat. Okay. I just needed to make sure that I was putting that in flat. Okay. So now I'm going to put this back down so you can see me filling my other cups. My little ones. These are really, and I just do about half a teaspoon in each one of these because they're smaller. Especially for the first layer, I try to just do a half. And then if I have any left over, when I go to do the top of these Reese's peanut butter cups, then I'll put a little bit more in. But we're gonna go ahead and fill these up. And yes, I am making a mess on here. I have to say all the little dabs on here that you can see, the little spills, they're actually really good when they get frozen and you can pick them off and just nibble on those. Okay, this is also going in the freezer. So here we go. I probably should have cleaned out the freezer beforehand. So I would have to have room in here. I dropped a big bag of frozen strawberries on my foot just now. That actually really hurt. Just don't do that. I told you, I am so not perfect. That really hurt. I don't know if you've ever dropped a bag of anything frozen. Wow, that really hurts. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we are now going to make some peanut butter, and I'm going to switch here. You can hear my dogs in the background. We have our friend Marie that's coming over. She might even jump in and help me in cooking the rest of these peanut butter cups. Hi, Marie. We'll see if she's camera shy. She might come over here, she might not. Okay, so we're going to now do the peanut butter. So while those are in the freezer, usually it takes just about 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long to get a good hardness to the first layer of these chocolate peanut butter cups. Okay, so we have a bunch of peanut butter. As I said, this is the one I've chosen. I usually get a peanut butter that has absolutely no sugar in it, all natural if I can. I prefer to do a nut butter versus peanut butter. I like almond butter or I like cashews. The cashew really has an extra creaminess to it. So I even prefer that over the almonds, but you can get an almond butter. Almond butter is a little bit more grainy. And so that can also be good depending on if you want texture. But I prefer the cashew butter. Okay, back with my fingers. And we're going to put that in to the peanut butter. I like a lot of peanut butter in mine. So I do a thinner layer of chocolate and then a big, thick mound of peanut butter. Hi, Marie. We are doing a little cooking demonstration. You're welcome to join us. We're making chocolate peanut butter cups, which should be fun. So right now we're starting to get the melting of the peanut butter, the melting of the coconut oil that we mixed in there. And, you know, sometimes I'll add a little bit of the sugar to it, the coconut sugar. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of the cayenne pepper, but for the most part, I just like the peanutty flavor of these natural peanut butters in here. So I typically do not need anything additional in this, in the cashew butter and the almond butter. They're just usually full of flavor. Okay, so that shouldn't take too long to melt down, but we're in no hurry because we need to wait for the other to get done in the freezer. So we're just going to continue to sit here and watch the peanut butter melt. It's not like watching paint dry. It actually will do this in front of your eyes. We might need a little bit of that. I don't know. Let's see how this turns out. But I was thinking maybe we needed a little bit more coconut oil in there. I prefer to just use the coconut oil very sparingly. I like to just do the one scoop as much as possible. I like to minimize the oils that we have unless it's the extra virgin early harvest cold pressed olive oil. And so let's get this melted down. You know, I was just thinking that if I was really a pro chef and I was on the Food Network or I was on one of those shows, I probably would have been more prepared and I probably would have had a layer of the chocolate already in the freezer or um or a version of every single step, a version with just the first layer of chocolate and then another version with the chocolate and the peanut butter and then a final version already ready for you so that we could just quickly and easily move on and we could have this whole thing done in a matter of, 15 minutes. But no, I don't do that because Kim can't cook. And it's with a K. So KYM, can't. KAN apostrophe T, cook, KOOK, which also spells kook. So when it's fitting, we can go ahead and use that. I just hope that people can relate to what I'm doing. and how I'm cooking because I'm just your average person and I don't have any chef skills, but I do like what I cook. And so I think that says something. My dad likes what I cook. That says something as well. Almost there. It's just not pretty. And I like those people who can make things that are tasty and also that look good too, but just not me. I am going to have raw cacao all over the stove and peanut butter stuck to my fingers and stuck to the edges of the counter. And that's just going to be the way it is. Okay. I think this is pretty good here. I think we'll probably have some extra peanut butter left over because that was a lot more than I needed. I mean, that's a lot of peanut butter. So you can actually do much less than that, but having a full pan is actually making it easier to demonstrate. So that's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and while we are doing that, you can see I have my other pan in here ready. I'm going to add a little bit more coconut oil, just about half what you did the last time. You don't really need that much because we have a lot of peanut butter, so the top layer is probably going to be very thin. Leave it. And my dog is cleaning up my mess that I'm dropping on the floor. And I'm going to add a little bit more cacao powder. Probably going to finish this bag. Yeah. Go. Finish that bag and start that in there. And I'm going to check on our peanut butter cups that are actually in the fridge and freezer and see if there's any ability to, nope, not quite yet. They're not quite hardened. We're almost there though. It's pretty quick. So let's see how the smaller ones do. Oh, well, that's easy. I mean, if you take a look at this, the smaller ones are actually already done. So that's really quick. So we can go ahead and spoon the peanut butter on these because that's so easy. I'm going to rinse this spoon out. Use I'll try and make these as clean as we can. Okay. So I'm going to put this right here and I'm going to spoon, you can see some peanut butter right on top. And I'm actually pretty generous with the peanut butter. I put maybe 1.5 in each one. Okay. Whoops. Just leaning a little bit, so I don't want it to leave. Okay. This in here. And a little bit more in here. These are going to be so good. I'm really excited. And I'm even more excited that they're actually in these smaller containers. They're actually hardening much, much quicker. Okay. Because it makes it a lot easier for a cooking demonstration. So you don't have to sit here and listen to me for longer than you have to see the finished product. I'm getting a little bit sloppy here. I might do a little wiping on this one. Okay, just a few more to go. Oh, these are going to be so good. Now, these peanut butter cups, you're going to be able to see, of course, the different layers, not like sometimes you have a regular Reese's peanut butter cup where they have magically put the peanut butter completely inside the chocolate shell. I haven't figured out how to do that. There's probably if you want to make those perfect like that, you could probably get a some sort of gel online for those. I'm gonna snap off here. Just clean it up a little bit. So just a little bit. Because I want them to look at least halfway decent for you. Oh, that's enough. We're gonna get them in the fridge. And would you look at this? The other ones are pretty much done as well. So we're going to go ahead and start these off, put the peanut butter on there. See, this is happening pretty fast. This is great. Okay. And these ones, of course, I can put a lot more peanut butter in. But as I said, you know, when I'm doing them generally for my dad, I do the smaller ones. And you can get the smaller ones that have smaller paper as well. I just don't have those with me. I'm gonna put lots of peanut butter in here. Okay. Lots and lots of peanut butter because I have a lot of peanut butter left. Okay. Okay. Those ones are ready. And as I said, make sure, especially when you start getting full, make sure that you um keep it, you know, level inside the freezer. And I just got a peek, and the ones that are in the smaller container are already starting to harden, which is absolutely fantastic. So by the time that we're done with making the top layer, I think we're gonna have the peanut butter cups almost ready for this top layer here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the stove back on, again on low, and start getting this top layer set. You're going to do the same process as we did on the first layer. And of course, I know it is so much easier if I actually had measurements, but you're going to have to do it just to taste. And everyone has their own, you know, taste. Some people like things sweeter, some people like things less sweet. Another thing that you can do with these, which I've done before, which is really fun, is, and it adds extra flavor to the chocolate, is put a little orange zest in it. I don't know if I have a zester in front of me. I do actually. A little zester, I got it for 50 cents online. So it was a little zester. And you can scrape the outside of the orange. Might even be able to do it here. I do have orange. So I can even show you that you can just zest, put some orange zest in it, scrape some little zest in it, and it'll add a little extra flavor. Um, these particular ones, I don't know if my brother and my dad are gonna really know what they're tasting here. I'm just trying to show you different ways that you can do this. And add flavor, experiment, do things, you know, different each and every time as I do. And oh, this smells really good. I actually might even add a little squeeze of orange in here because this smells really good. I think it's a very good idea. And when you do something like this and adding the orange zest and then squeezing a little bit of orange in there, it adds flavor and it adds a little sweetness, sometimes a little tartness, and it means that you're going to be using probably less of the coconut brown sugar in there, which is always, no matter what, it's always a good thing. Some people have asked if we can use, you know, something like stevia. Dr. Michael Danziger, who is the, diabetes reversal doctor that um, we have interviewed before. He prefers a natural stevia extract. So here's a little bit of the orange. I'm just going to squeeze orange in there. I'm excited about that actually. I squeeze the, that's a blood orange. I haven't squeezed the orange in there. I've put in or some zest, but I've never squeezed the actual orange in there. So I'm excited to try this. Add a little bit of the um, cayenne pepper again, little sprinkles, because the other layer had quite the kick. So just a little bit in there. I'm going to add a little bit of that cinnamon. Whoops, that's a lot of cinnamon. We'll just stop it there. And then I'm going to add again a little bit of that sugar, coconut sugar, a little bit. And I'm going to mix that up. It's starting to get a little hot, so I'm going to pour it down. You can see you don't want it sizzling like that. You want to keep it on very, very, very low heat because it'll start thickening way too much. So we're going to turn it down even more. We might have to add a little bit more coconut oil in there to make it. Oh my gosh, that's actually really good. Oh my gosh. Okay, you've got to use the orange. The orange is really good in there. The orange is really good in there. In fact, I'm going to squeeze a little more because I really, really like that flavor. Boy, is that good. And this one in particular, this is a blood orange. I'd never gotten that before. Add a little bit of coconut oil just to thin that out. And I take it off for a second. Keep stirring. You want to just keep stirring. You don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan at all. Because then you're going to have a whole other mess to clean. And as I said, you don't want to burn it. That would be the worst thing you could do. Okay. I think that's almost ready for us to go ahead and get the peanut butter out. I think the peanut butter probably, if it hardens as quickly as the chocolate did, I think that it's going to be pretty much done by now. I really like that orange. Can you tell? Really, really like that orange in there. Okay. So now it's a little bit better. You want a pretty loose consistency on the chocolate. Okay. I'm going to taste it one more time. Oh, yes. Okay. So good. Yep. Oh my gosh. I love these little ones. I am going to suggest if you want to get this done literally in an hour, I mean, these little ones I think are seriously the way to go. Okay, let's get our spoon again. And we're just going to, I might have to make a little bit more. There we go. This looks so good. Can you guys see what I'm doing? There we go. So good. We're almost done here. You can hear my dog barking again in the background. He doesn't like vacuums, and the house is being vacuumed in the other side, and he thinks that he has to attack the vacuum or attack the broom or attack whatever it might be. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited about these. Wow. I don't think I made enough chocolate for the other ones, but at least these ones should be okay. Oh yeah, nice healthier layer right there on top. And this chocolate. Oh yeah. So good. Okay. Well, maybe I need a little bit more here, but let's see. I might be able to scrape out the rest. A little bit more. We just need a little bit more. Just a little bit. And then we can make just a tiny bit more for the bigger cups, because I know you want to see how those turn out as well. There we go. That was just enough. Look at that. That is going to be perfect. Okay. So here they are. We're going to put those into the freezer. I think we're going to have to probably stick with the, we're probably going to have to stick with the smaller ones, because the bigger ones, I just checked on them and they're still a little loosey-goosey. So that might take a little bit longer to do, but we're going to make one more set of chocolate just because. And as I said, that orange, I think really, really makes it. Not your typical flavor. With the punch of salt. I know I didn't put the salt in the top layer, but I just, on the other ones, I just want to, I try to use any salt just sparingly. But okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to just make another batch of the chocolate, and I'll show you again. And I'll show you how to, sprinkle the salt in on this one, just so you have some consistency. And I can't wait to see if you guys actually make this. I would love to hear any modifications that you make to it. I'm putting the blood orange back in. Just so good. And just gonna scrape some of the zest. I mean, if you have been watching till now, just tuned in, you know that I added the orange zest, and I started there because I've done that before. I never thought to add any, just the juice as well. I know that sounds funny, but I'll just I like zesting. I like zesting everything. When I serve fish, I just pull this out and I zest a little lemon over my fish. I'll also do it with a lime as well. These zesters are just really handy to have in your kitchen. Okay, we're going to add a little bit extra cacao in there as well. We use a lot of cacao in our house, so I'm going to open up another package because I've just finished the other one, and I'm just going to pour. I just like to pour, and I like lots of raw cacao. Yeah. Okay. Put that down. I also use the raw cacao, and I make my dad little packets for his yogurt. So we don't do any dairy in this house at all. I'm anaphylactic to dairy. And my dad was told by his dietitian that it causes inflammation. So he stopped doing dairy. And we get a cashew milk yogurt instead. And we make little packets, again, of the half a teaspoon of raw cacao, half a teaspoon of flax, ground flax, half a teaspoon of hemp seeds, half a teaspoon of ground chia seeds, and then half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And when he wants to have yogurt in the morning, he just takes his little plastic bag that we make up for him, and he pours it into his yogurt with some berries and just a few walnuts or almonds, sliced almonds, so that he has a really nice breakfast in the morning. And he always has to have that with an orange. He has an orange every single morning with it. It's his one. He loves having his orange. That's why I have these blood oranges on standby here. Okay, so now we're going to add a little debating. I think we need, a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit more orange. Oh, yeah, definitely good. Okay. Sometimes as an alternative that we will do is for dessert is we love strawberries. If you watch from the beginning, I dropped a bag of frozen strawberries on my toe, which was very painful. But the reason I have them in here is because what I'll do is I'll take, my dad also loves ice cream. And so I will end up, I'll make a strawberry ice cream. And I don't have an ice cream maker, so it's not perfect, of course. Nothing I ever do is perfect. But I have a blender. I pour a whole bunch of frozen strawberries into the blender with, or you can use fresh strawberries. You can even use blueberries if you want. With blueberry ice cream. But I take, I use forager cashew milk. It is more expensive. We don't use that much of it. We just need it for certain things, like a little bit for sauces or smoothies or something. But it has just a few ingredients. It has like salt and cashew milk and nothing else much. So I use that. It's unsweetened. We put it in the blender with a little bit of xanthan gum or arrowroot, and it thickens it up just a little bit, tiny bit. I add the strawberries and I just blend it. And then I put it out on a cooking sheet and I put it in the freezer. And then I use my little ice cream scooper and I make ice cream, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. So you can also add some, as I said earlier as well, you can add some dates to it if you want to blend those in and make it a little as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other ones. They're not completely hard, but they're getting there. Here, I'll show you. And there's a little bit on there. That's fine. If it's just a little bit of leftover softness on the top, that's fine. Normally if you're in a rush, that's fine. Yeah, let it harden before I scoop the chocolate on the top. But just for time's sake here, I'm just going to go ahead and expedite this. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but there it is. That's going to be really good. And that's going to be really good. See, the problem with leaving a little soupiness is it starts blending. So this one's just going to be a little bit mixed on top. It's not going to be as pretty as the other ones. Wow, I'm running out of, I'm not used to doing the bigger ones. I did these bigger ones mainly for show. And so they do require a lot more ingredients than I ended up again putting in here. So again, this is the lack of ability to measure. So let's make one more set, which is okay. Because I just am enjoying that orange in there. That's so good. If anyone hasn't heard me already, again, that orange is so good in there. Really, really good in there. Okay. I'm gonna squeeze more orange. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm going to add a little bit more chocolate. Oh yeah, I'm getting chocolate in there. Okay. Got the chocolate. I'm actually going to add a little bit of, just to show you, again, in case you miss it, a little tiny bit of Celtic salt can go a long way. If I can get it to come out, go. Tiny bit of cayenne pepper and some cinnamon. Okay. And a little bit of that orange zest. There we go. Because we just have a couple more we're doing here. No big deal. Just mix that around. And as I said, you're going to come up with your own flavor profiles. You're going to start teaching me and giving me some ideas on how I can make these differently. I can maybe make these better, more plate flavorful. But I have to say, I mean, for my dad to be satisfied with them, it's actually pretty good because he's very picky when it comes to his sweets. He likes the perfect sweetness. Um he likes the perfect texture. So everything has to be perfect. And of course, you know, since this is the chocolate, I do add, whoops, we don't want any too much sugar in there. There's a little, there we go. But this is the coconut, the organic coconut brown sugar. And so it has 4 grams of sugar, so it's less than normal. Okay, so that's ready. We're gonna go ahead and spoon that on. See how quick and easy these are to make? So easy. I was actually doing them every week for a while just to um, keep them in the fridge, keep them in the freezer. I mean, you got to keep these in the freezer if you want to, you like them a little softer. What I suggest is take them out about half hour before you want to eat them and have them ready. Like if you usually will have it with a meal or after a meal, just go ahead and leave them out for a few minutes, you know, beforehand, and they'll get softer. Personally, I like them when they're frozen. Again, so good. And I like the little, again, I like the little burst of orange that you get from eating a piece of zest. And then that with a little punch of salt, it's really good. Not too much salt. Okay, we're going to put these back in. I'm going to turn off the stove. And there you have it. These ones are already done. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So I need to get my other pan and I'm going to let them move this. Okay. And we need to shake them out, shake them out. Ooh, there we are. Look at this. It is all done. Look at these Reese's peanut butter cups. And you can put the layers the way you want. I just like a big thing of peanut butter in them. But look, it's absolutely hard. And it has the chocolate on the top, it has the chocolate on the bottom, and it's absolutely delicious. And let's see if we can get Marie, my friend Marie over here, to pop in and have a bite. Marie, what do you think? Do you want to try a homemade chocolate peanut butter cup?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, it's really good.
I know you're.
Yeah, you just made it up.
Mhm. It's really good, isn't it?
Yes.
Really satisfying. And for those keeping score over here on the West Coast, oh my gosh, and the salt in it. Do you taste a little bit of salt? It's so good. It has a different flavor. It just it's satisfying. It has a kick. Do you taste the cayenne in there?
Kind of.
Kind of. For me, I'm sensitive to things that are spicy, so I can feel it burning.
Are you? Really? No, I'm not.
But it literally, the peanut butter is really soft on the middle. The peanut butter is, kind of soft on the middle. Of course, we haven't had them in the freezer very long. But this is something that's actually pretty quick and easy, and within an hour, you can you can have these ready for yourself, for the kids, for the grandkids. I think these would be fantastic because it's something that you guys can enjoy together. And if you're going to a party or something, you can bring these with you. So instead of having the big piece of chocolate cake or whatever it might be, big bowl of ice cream, hot fudge sundae, these are equally as satisfying. And every once in a while is I'll pack these in my purse. And so while everybody just having dessert at a restaurant, I know some people frown upon bringing food in, but a little thing like this you can hide. And while everybody else orders dessert, you can pull one of these out and it's just as satisfying and you don't really miss a thing. So I'm curious because I see that Douglas is over there and he's watching. Douglas, do you want to unmute and tell me kind of what do you think of the recipe? And are you excited to try it, or does this not look good to you?
No, that is. I live in a travel trailer, and that is something as a single man that I can really do because I love peanut butter cups.
Oh
So
my God. Douglas, I'm going to tell you, these are so good. And with the little pop of just a tiny bit, you saw I don't use a lot of any of the ingredients. Most of it is the raw cacao, some coconut oil, organic coconut oil, just enough to make it solidify. So the coconut oil makes it solidify. But even then, I don't add as much coconut oil at all to the peanut butter. You have to be very careful because you don't want it to solidify too much. I still like the creaminess. If you can tell, it's still creamy. I
but
can
that
whip the
also
peanut butter still out.
is that also one of those things where we can adjust as we learn to make them. We can
Yeah,
adjust it according to our taste, can't we?
exactly. And just as you saw me instantly and in real time modify the recipe, when I realized, I don't know, I just got this whim that I felt like instead of just adding a little bit of the orange zest, I squeezed some of the orange in there.
That's the first
And
time you've done that,
that's the first time I've squeezed the orange in there.
and you
Mm,
can tell a difference.
yeah. Um, I mean, I just love the flavor of these. And the texture with the hard chocolate, the chocolate getting hardened with the coconut oil in it. Um, adding
And we can
the
buy those. We can buy those little pans at the Dollar General store, can't we?
Yeah,
They're like those cupcake pans, aren't they?
exactly. And you can get whatever size works for you. I mean, I just personally like the smaller ones. If you can get the smaller ones, I mentioned earlier, I have even tinier ones, and you can get minis that also have, it's a lot easier if you use the ones that have the paper. It's just I don't use those as often simply because one, I try to minimize the waste. I don't, that's paper, it gets put out, we have to put it in the recycling and stuff. And with these ones that I just did here, I just rinse out the pan right afterwards. um and I typically, when I store them, I usually will keep them stored in the actual pan itself when it's in the fridge and freezer, and I just put a cover over it in the freezer. But you can actually pop them all out, and you can go ahead. It's sometimes hard to get them
So
all out.
everything you cook with today is in your recipe that we can get online.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna adjust that. Um, I probably should end up modifying it a little bit because I did put in there that I use coconut nectar, and I decided not to use coconut nectar in this one because the coconut brown sugar has less it's has less grams of sugar in it. than the coconut nectar. And even though coconut nectar is natural, still, I prefer the organic coconut brown sugar in there. And again, we don't use very much of it at all. At
In the
all.
overall scheme of things, that still is a better heart healthy for us with PAD and
Yeah.
with diabetes and heart issues. That is an absolute better choice than stopping at a store and buying a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I mean, these are so much better. No joke. Because you can actually modify it to your own flavor profile. And add the ingredients kind of that you want and the amount that you want. And, you know, just taste it, take a little dab on your finger and kind of taste it as you go. But I mean, I mean, you can see that the peanut butter is just kind of oozing out over there. And this is the way I like it. As I said, if you want your peanut butter completely hardened, you can add a little bit more coconut oil. But I do prefer the less is more approach. I do prefer my peanut butter just a little bit more on the creamier side. I know that in a regular chocolate peanut butter cup you get in the store, it's all completely, you know, it's soft, but it's still solid.
Can you show us that peanut butter jar?
So this one is just a creamy cashew butter. I say, you know, peanut butter, but let's see if we can get it down here so you can see it. This one's just an organic creamy cashew butter. I like it because it literally has one ingredient. It is cashews, nothing else. And they're done organically. In this particular one, they're dry roasted cashews, and they just make cashew butter out of it. And there's no sugar in it. So the key is you don't want peanut butter that has sugar. You want to be able to control that. So if you do like the peanut butter a little bit more sweetened, which I think that having the a little bit sweeter, but if you want the peanut butter also a little bit sweeter, you can add some of the organic coconut brown sugar. But of course, remember, less is more. You can even add, I didn't think about it then, but you could even add, you know, squeeze some orange in it as well, into the peanut butter and just create a little bit of consistency throughout. It'll add a little bit of sweetness.
And one more question. Could we add like a nut in the process somewhere along the line?
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about that. That's a really good idea. Because you can make it, just add a little extra protein in it, as long as you're not allergic to nuts. I mean, this is not the recipe. If you're allergic to nuts, please do not do it. You think that's obvious, but you know, you'd be surprised. So, you could actually chop up or get some crushed nuts. You know, when you get a bag of nuts and you finish it, and at the bottom, you're just like, that's such a waste. And there's just the crushed little pieces of nuts at the bottom. Put them aside and use them in here and make it a little bit crunchy. I think that would be a brilliant idea. Just adds a little extra protein with it, and the proteins can end up balancing out the little bit of sugar that you do use in it. And as I said, you can also use a natural stevia type of thing. I'm not a big fan of the monk fruit sugar with is it the xylitol or erythritol or whatever it is in it? I think it's xylitol. But anyway, I don't
like a blueberry.
I mean, you can add, you know, fruit to it. You could probably add a little fruit to the chocolate, just like I added some people like raspberries. I mean, raspberry dark chocolate is so good. But you bring up a really great point. So the other thing that I do, and I wish did I have any more? I did have a little bit extra. I do have a little bit of extra. Let me make sure over here. You could actually, but I would do it when they're frozen. I don't think it's going to work as well here, but you can get you could do frozen blueberries. I wonder if I can do it with a strawberry, because big use of those. Actually, here, I'll show you something other fun that you can do if you have a little bit of leftover chocolate. Is my berries are a little bit really frozen here. So what you can do is take just a little strawberry. Mine got a little iced. I can take a little bit. I don't know if I have enough chocolate. Let's see. Maybe I do. I just pour it right over.
A chocolate strawberry.
And you can have a chocolate covered strawberry. Okay. Yeah, just roll it around in there. Get some chocolate on there. I'm not doing, as I said, when I do these, really, I have it all set up, and I'm just trying to show you that you can do this. And within a few moments, actually, in doing this, you can go ahead and leave that out. God, that chocolate is so good. But look, you can see it's already hardening right on the chocolate, right on the strawberry. So, and that's because of the coconut oil. So I'm not saying, as I said, that this is healthy, because there is the coconut oil on it, but it is healthier. Okay. And it satisfies just that little bit of sweetness. And this isn't, pretty. I usually will do them a little prettier. But now you have a chocolate covered strawberry, which actually is really great for Mother's Day. And so, wife, mom, someone with PAD, you could end up just making some simple, dark chocolate covered strawberries, right at home, just like that. I mean, literally, that took me just 2 seconds, just to pour that over it. But as I said, you can make that much prettier. You can also do that with blueberries. Sometimes I'll make a bowl of blueberries, stick them in the freezer for about 5 minutes, and then I'll take this chocolate mixture that I make, and I can whip it up in just a matter of a couple minutes after dinner for my dad. And I'll pour the blueberries in a little bowl, and I'll just drizzle some of the chocolate right there on top. And you add it again, the little orange zest, a little bit of the Celtic, tiny pinch of the Celtic salt, cayenne pepper, some cinnamon, and you have a great, satisfying dessert. But I'm looking at these. I love these peanut butter cups, Douglas. These are so absolutely delicious. No joke.
That took basically, it took less than an hour to do that whole process.
Yep. And it takes me much less time. I was just showing you a lot. Normally, as I said, I just make one thing of them. I just make, just this container. I'll show you again. That size. And I even make them smaller. I make the much tinier ones, and it goes by much, much quicker. And if you wanted, you could even just make enough of the dark chocolate in the beginning, and then you don't have to make 2 batches. I don't like to get distracted. So what I do is I make just enough for the bottom. Then while the bottom is in the freezer, getting hardened, I'm making the peanut butter. When the peanut butter's ready, usually the container in the freezer is ready to have the peanut butter poured on it. I pour the peanut butter on it, put it in the freezer, and then I make the top layer. And I just measure everything separately, and it also just keeps me busy, so I'm not just sitting there, in a sense, watching paint dry, and waiting for them to harden in the freezer. So I just time everything out perfectly. So I'm always just busy and maintaining my focus on just making the chocolate peanut butter cups, because if I don't also, then something's going to burn, just like my artichokes always do. And they're not going to be good. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. If you'd like to show us one of your healthier recipes, your hacks, and the reason I show you and we don't make everything completely perfect is because I want it to be attainable for the average person, and none of us are perfect. We're never going to have, as much as we try, the perfect healthy eating habits, right? We've had anywhere between 40, 50, 60, sometimes even 70 or 80 years of habits and cravings and desires to have this sweets and our favorite recipes. And there are certain recipes, especially culturally, that remind you of your family. I have certain things like my mom's fricassee chicken or her rack of lamb, her lamb stew, or this veggie dish, like that are all her recipes that are nostalgic. They remind me of her, and I miss her so much sometimes that making some of her recipes makes me feel good. But it doesn't mean you can't modify those recipes to make them just a little bit healthier. For example, with the fricassee chicken, instead of adding flour, I add a little bit of arrowroot to thicken the sauce. So we're not about being 100% make the change. Yes, these are healthy. Here's the calorie count. Here's the sugar. Here's everything that you need to know about this particular dish. We're just not that. We're just here to be real with you and to show you a little bit of healthier food hacks here on Patty's Plate. So I hope you enjoyed this. Always remember, before you take any advice or you follow any of these recipes, make sure you do check with your nutritionist, or make sure you check with your dietitian or your regular primary care doctor to make sure that these are right for you. And also make sure to check with your pharmacist to make sure that all ingredients are compatible with your any medications that you might be on. So everyone, thank you so much again for joining us. And if you want to show us your recipe, go ahead and email me at kym@thewaytomyheart.org, or go ahead and comment and we'll reach out to you via YouTube as well. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms. And we appreciate even doggy moms and pet moms.